moving back to Kenya, I think the biggest problem I found here was distribution. As an apparel company, you don't have stores that basically cater for the designers to put their products in. And then on top of that, the other thing that's missing here, I think, is the idea of trade fairs in that sense as well. And also, I think another thing that really helps in the American market is also production. So you also find like a lot of like factories here are always dealing with the outside market. We're importing a lot, but not, the vice versa of it. So it's like we're setting up EPZ, but we don't have distribution points here. We don't have enough skill sets to make it into, like merchandisers. So it's a whole industry that kind of like is missing in that sense. There's a whole byproduct that's not going on here.
Contribute. What do you see are the opportunities?
The opportunities are endless in Africa. I think Africa is the next frontier. Definitely is the next frontier. But we have to put a lot of things into play. There's a lot of education that needs to happen. Like we're talking about distribution, production, all across the line. What I see for myself and the line is we have to innovate new fabrics. We're following into copy and pasting. We're copying and pasting what everybody else has perfected. And as Africa, we have labor, we have the skill sets that need to be, at least there we have to work on that. And we have very vibrant youth who have many ideas, but you find like, I was speaking at the University of Nairobi once at a design class, and all the kids, what you could see is what they see on TV. And for me, I was like, you can't compete with a New York designer while you're in Africa, you're trying to do the same thing he's doing. So what I was trying to tell them was you have to find what inspires you outside that door when you walk out and see that matatu or see the butterfly that nobody else sees in New York, and look at those colors and look for fabrics that are organic to here and find ways to bring it to the outside market. And I think that's the opportunity we have, creating new things from our tradition, which we've always been creating for the past. I mean, Africa is the oldest continent in the world. So if we can find those traditions and find out to repackage them to the future, then we have that opportunity today and here.
Great, thank you. And April or Anne, would you like to add from your perspective how you've taken your own model, very different from simply copying, and how you've made that a commercial success?
I think I'd like to pick up first, if you don't mind, on some of the things that Matthew said, because I completely agree with them. Distribution's always been a major problem here, but it's also a thing of how do we get our brands into other markets, because these markets are small. So yes, we have a problem with distribution in our own market, but we have a problem accessing international global markets, which I feel is the way we all have to go right now. I think we have to understand that there's a big vagary in the local market. We have trouble with the economy, the inflation, and customers disappear. We have some kind of violence somewhere, tourists disappear. And then we have those kind of core problems that affect all of us, as in the last election, violence, or maybe, this kind of thing of a bomb threat or whatever, and the retail customers disappear. So we're in a market that really goes up and down like a yo-yo, and if all our eggs are in the local basket, as they have been in mine, then we're very sensitive to those things, and our brands kind of rise and die, and it involves a lot of effort to get them out there again. Other issues I had was like having decided in 2003 that I was exporting, and I decided to export knitwear because I couldn't get the right quality of cotton here because all the good stuff was being exported, and then I couldn't even get the yarn. I was exporting to Japan, the second order. There were much bigger players in the mass market who could now negotiate in a different way. So I was now a designer going into a niche market, and the supply chain I wasn't taken seriously. I think that's improving, but it's far from where we want it to be. And I'd like to use the example in Ghana, Kofi Ansah. Some people will have heard me talk about it before. He's done what Kimathi is suggesting. He's looked at the traditional textiles of Ghana. He's made it a government project. He's got government funding, and he's now imported wide looms that can now make these textiles. They're making them in Ghana, so Ghana owns the commercial variation on the hand-woven textile. And I think if you look at tradition in Kenya, we may have fewer textiles. We do have, but we don't have as many. We also have the whole leather and beading tradition. And of course, our leather industry tanneries are in an equal mess to our how do you say, the cotton weavers. I think intellectual property is a huge thing because I was very concerned. I've been in the UK recently, and of course, the West is inspired currently by African fashion. So wherever you go, even if you look in the magazines, the trends coming up, you see African-inspired things everywhere. And a lot of them are doing stuff we've probably already done, but of course they're doing it with a very big brand name. They've got the machinery behind them to mass market. And I think all of us sitting here with local business know that within a year we're going to have our second-hand clothes market, Matumba, full of garments that look like our garments, except they're now in polyesters and whatever, they're not the originals. And my major concern right now is Kiko Romeo, which is an Afro-centric brand, is can we please get out there and really hit the international markets and get known as a global brand? Because if we aren't, by the time the second-hand stuff hits here, I mean, we're done. And so it's really become absolutely urgent for our brands to get out there, as well as us to look at how we're going to develop the new stuff, how are we patenting it, how are we protecting ourselves. It's a big concern for me. Oh, sorry, just one last little thing I want to say. Ministry of Information has woken up to this whole creative economy. They want to grow it from, I think, did they say it's something like 5% of our GDP right now. They want to grow to 10% in 5 years. And they have got, together with IBM, they've done a creative economy roadmap. They're now actually going into details. They've involved all kinds of people in science and arts to actually now put government behind the whole creative economy. And that may make a big difference if it's recognised officially, because we've never been recognised.
I agree with everything that's been said thus far. One thing that I do see here in Kenya specifically is the lack of business capacity. So whereas we want to get our brands out, we want to be respected, I don't see people really focusing on a business plan or marketing or how are you going to pay yourself. And I think you can't expect to be successful and go out to the international market and be respected if you don't have those fundamental business aspects in place. So whereas it's really nice to have, to be able to create the newest pair of pants or look the most stylish, a business actually needs to have business documentation, and it takes planning and it takes time to research your competitors. And then when those stumbling blocks do come up, you're already prepared for those things. So with all the young designers here and everyone, I just want to encourage you to also know your business, know what market that you want to get into, and do your research so that you're not surprised when these other things may come up inside rail you.
And I'd say hire somebody or coexist with someone who's in finance. That's why I brought April in. I've been in business since '96. I've never made any money, although everyone thinks I have. I'm very famous, but I don't have that. So I think a lot of young designers probably start out like me, great design skills, but not much business acumen.